Okay, so today we're going to look at the difference between a prokaryote and a eukaryote, and what I want you to understand is that when you do a Venn diagram, you just have to make it nice and simple. They have things in common and they have differences, okay? So eukaryotes, prokaryotes, and both, okay? So what do they both have in common? Well, they're cells, or they have cells. They're living, which means they have DNA, because that's what is required for a living thing. They grow and reproduce. They have all of the things that living things have. They reproduce. They use energy. Okay. And the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes is pretty simple. Prokaryotes are very simple cells, and eukaryotes are complex cells. Prokaryotes have free-floating DNA. That means they don't enclose their DNA in a nucleus, a nuclear membrane. So free-floating DNA. So it's just hanging around inside of the cytoplasm. Whereas the eukaryotes have membrane-bound organelles. All of their organelles have a membrane around them. Okay, so membrane-bound, that means they're bound or surrounded by a membrane. Oops, organelles. Okay, and typically a prokaryotic cell is a bacteria. If you look at bacterial cells, you'll see that they don't have any nucleus. So a bacteria is a good example of a prokaryote. Okay, and that can be archaebacteria or just plain old eubacteria. Now, eukaryotes, here's how I remember this. Eukaryotes is everything else, which are plants, plant cells, animal cells or animals, and fungi. Okay, so those are the eukaryotes because they're very complex organisms. They have membrane-bound organelles. So prokaryotes and eukaryotes are both living things, and they exhibit all of the characteristics of living things, but eukaryotes are much more complex because of their membrane-bound organelles, including plant, animal, and fungi. Prokaryotes are very simple. They have free-floating DNA, and bacteria is the defining organism for that group.